Peace family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about how they want you to be humble while they simultaneously try to destroy you in the process. They want us to be humble. Don't speak up, don't speak out, don't say anything, don't do anything. Put your hands in your pockets, behind your back, sit on them, you know what I'm saying? Like, get some glue, tape your lips, staple them, do whatever you gotta do. Just be humble. A lot of beings, because they haven't been in like a lot of altercations throughout life, they don't really comprehend what it means to be humble. So a lot of people feel as though humble means not raising your temperature, not speaking highly of yourself. Like, a lot of things that make you humble is what they want to shush you about. So you have to process things like, if you never did something before, it's always going to be like some kind of fear, some kind of scarcity behind it. I say that come with a percentage attached to everything. But when you've done something throughout the time of your lifespan, whether you was doing it when you was little, you got really good, whether you was doing it when you was a teenager, got really good, whether you was doing it when you was older and got really good, you knew that you were really good at what you were doing. So when other people, let's say they painted against you, played checkers against you, chess against you, raced against you, baseball, softball, swimming against you, just anything in those fields, where that you spent a lot of time in, either just for fun or because you really wanted to learn. When you put that much work in, whether it's for fun or whether it's, to do something more productive, you still put in a lot of time and energy into that. So if you go out swimming with your friends and you beat them every single time, just because you mention that you're faster than them, or just because you show them that you're faster than them and you can beat them, swim faster than them doing the backstroke, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean that you're not a humble being because you can acknowledge some of the things that you are good at, They don't want us to think highly of ourselves in any manner whatsoever. And for me, it's like, when you follow in this other road, the less traveled road in today's society, you should already know that you always gonna stand out. It's always gonna be a multitude of people that's going against you. Most situations, you're gonna be the one that's going against the grain. So I say that to say, like, we all understand what's happening out here in society, in this Western culture, wherever you at in the world. And for people to constantly tell you to be humble, to be quiet, to shush, to don't say anything, what they're doing doesn't affect you. These are all things that kind of got us to the space that we're in now, to where we're disconnected. And the ones who aren't disconnected, they're doing their best to disconnect everyone else in the process. So you have to think about it like, we got images of slavery, or you can use images of prison, jails, So you got to think about the setup and the structure. The COs and the higher ups, wardens, everyone is always going to want to keep the inmates simmered down, lower, at a bay, So constantly having their emotions in check from the CO's perspective, meaning when they start seeing temperatures rise or things happening, they usually try to get involved. But if you stay humble, so they say, or if you stay quiet, or if you shut your lips, then they'll put you in that humble space. You're not a problem. But the tricky part with that is us being spiritual beings, right? that doesn't mean that we're not processing those places and locations, those things that we see happening and visioning on the inside. We just didn't want to reflect it outwardly. Then you have a lot of other situations where you have regular people in your everyday life who wants to try to humble you down, or just because they feel as though they're great communicators, they still don't really comprehend communicating. So for example, like say you meet somebody new and then y'all start talking and engaging, and then let's say like they just stop messaging you or something like that. Maybe I was in the middle of a conversation, then all of a sudden you just stopped. You didn't hear anything that night, you didn't hear anything the next couple days. So then you send them a message, just kind of letting you know, like, maybe you didn't appreciate how they was ignoring you or being unresponsive, and then they'll snap back. Usually when them situations happen throughout my life, if I send another message after it's been a couple days or something like that, they are usually always guaranteed to respond. And it's usually because it's the vibration that they don't want. See, in their world, they're used to dominating and having the control. But the thing is with us, we don't have a problem sharing the power. We don't look to control anyone because we understand that your free will and your free choice is what gives you your power. What you choose to do, how you want to flex your free will is what gives you a lot of power. That's a part of the recipe. Stay connected with the source, but that's another part of the recipe. Everything is gonna be a recipe. I always emphasize that. You're never just gonna get, it's never just the grass, or a strand of grass. It's always a multitude of things that go into this recipe. So if you plant a seed in there, it got some magic that's happening for it to sprout up. So it's more than just one thing happening. So we gotta look at life the same way. We deal with a lot of beings around us that are really shitty at communicating, and then the minute you speak up or say something, they're gonna take it as you trying to get out of line, you raising your temperature with them. I had one person tell me they felt disrespected, and I just kept thinking to myself, like, it's disrespectful for you to ignore someone. So for you to tell me about you feeling disrespect, I don't give two fucks. If I got to a place where there was no there was like we was communicating, then it just went blank, dry, ghosted, and then all of a sudden I'll reach back out again a couple days later, a week or so later, however the time span may be, and you respond to that message but not the other ones that was in the middle, in between there, then you right. I don't care about if you're visioning it as respect, because respect works both ways, and then their response was kind of like, we don't, like, when you don't know each other that well, I guess their starts off as no respect. They didn't say that, right? They just mentioned the part about like not knowing each other that well. And to me, when I'm like engaging with new people, old people, it doesn't matter what kind of people. It's a clean slate. It's like when somebody give you a blank piece of paper and they be like, this is your paper for the day. You know what I'm saying? Right. This is all the space you're going to have to write, scribble, draw, take notes, do whatever it is you want to do. When that's the only paper that you have, you're going to make sure that you got enough space to do what you need to do so that one sheet lasts. You know what I mean? So you may not even use the whole blank slate while you're writing. You may just only want to take the, a quarter of the paper and just box that in for this section, use another box for that section. You know what I mean? But a lot of them feel as though, if you speaking of yourself, in an enlightened way, and then you're actually walking that way of life, they feel as though you're being arrogant, or that's when they put you on the narcissist scale. But your narc is a demon, so you might as well just call them a demon if you're going to call them a narc. But to call somebody a demon, it has such a hard connotation on it that most people don't even understand that we all kind of practice some of them rituals by force and by choice. It's once you become aware and when you're able to start making them changes and shifts in how you choose to avoid those things, or if you choosing to still engage. You know what I mean? But as a man in this spiritual war, in this process, you know, it's like for men, for me, humble is my definition, but I'm still a male, so I still have testosterone, I still have strength, muscles that I want to use. You know, it's still like I'm a warrior at heart, so it's like taking a fish out the water, you know what I'm saying? Like, they want to get back in the water. I'm a warrior, is what I do. So when the situations is set up like this, to where now you have to process things differently and war differently, now it's like I'm that fish that got pulled out the water, but I got put in a little bucket with a little bit of water, just enough to keep me alive, but it's not enough for me to kind of flex my swimming moves and all that stuff that I want to do in the water. So, and I only could speak that side for the men, because most of us are like, we are sacrificial by nature. Most of us. The one that not like the demonic ones, I'm not speaking for them. The demonic men, I'm not speaking for them. They gonna sacrifice everybody else around them. But the real men, doesn't matter if you have all the money in the world or not. The money doesn't define your value. It just kind of defines like your work ethic to a certain degree out here. You know what I mean? But it doesn't define your values as a man. And a lot of us know that we are naturally sacrificial, you know, because we are always thinking protection first. A lot of beings, or I would say a lot of females, you know, that's not in a man's body, don't really comprehend how often every day, you know, or every move we make, we are processing protection. And then when we tell the ones around us certain things, it's for protection. You know what I mean? So even those things right there alone is enough to keep somebody humble, especially knowing somebody who's been in a lot of situations already, and you already know the level of violence and where things can go to, you know. And you only gonna be able to keep warriors simmered down but for so long. So we peaceful, but we still about that life, you know. It's just things have shifted. So now they want to keep us all humble while they're still trying to destroy us in the process. And to me, it's like, for a lot of us, we fighters, we warriors, you know, we don't do no backing down when it comes to the opposition trying to do certain things. So you have to understand whether it's a physical situation or just a verbal, spiritual situation, which the physical one is still spiritual, but I'm just saying, verbal or the physical one, you have to understand the level and depths of how you're supposed to be standing solid. Why it's important for you to learn new vocabulary, new words, you know what I mean? Just putting yourself in different situations so that way when the fan does hit, you're prepared for it. You know what I mean? You ever seen somebody put their hand on a hot stove and it didn't burn them? That's because they was already prepared. They probably practiced throughout their life touching hot stoves. You know what I mean? So I feel like, and I ain't gonna say I feel like, I know like the universe is sending something through, right? Because I done said, you know what I mean, too many times. And this brand Nubian shirt that I got on, right? I got this like a year or something ago. I had ordered it from Lord Jamar's website because I used to watch his Godcast. I still tap in occasionally, just not as much. But his is, you know what I mean, Godcast. So I guess his vibration just kind of kept flowing through and kept making me say, you know what I mean? I'm like, wait, I done said that. It done came out a couple times. I am very aware of whether I'm using but, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, you know what I'm saying? Those are like filler words. Most people that's into like talking, lecturing, speeching, you know, those are filler words. And is a filler word. So y'all, most of y'all that's watching me, y'all know I'm pretty natural. I don't do no scripts. It's none of that. You know, we just kind of come out and what the universe sends through is what's going to be presented. But I was supposed to discuss this being humble while they're trying to destroy you in the process, because you will find yourself feeling bad, pity, that you didn't speak up or say anything or do anything. And then on the opposite side, when you do speak up or say something, sometimes you may process things as though you over exaggerated it. So now you start feeling bad and guilty again. But you gotta understand, like, you would have never took it to that next level if they was on your team. You would have never took it to the next level if they was on your team. You ain't never raised your temperature like that to people that's on your team, you know? So just being aware of how this magic and these spells work. You can be humble. We are the true definition of humble. The definition of it. But don't get that misconstrued with being weak and allowing people to just trample all over top of you, you know? But we got more planes coming through. I ain't gonna run it up too long, you know? Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.